Good morning, dear students. So, we are going to the second topic in the last module, manufacturing and machine tools. So, in today's session, we will be mainly dealing with the metal joining process. So, the major metal joining process that we are going to discuss is welding, soldering, and bracing. So, let's see what are the objectives of today's session. So first we will discuss a brief introduction about welding and their classification. Then we will see the basic principles of arc welding, how it works, what are the advantages and disadvantages etc. of arc welding. After that we will discuss about soldering, then bracing, and finally we will compare these three metal joining process, that is soldering, bracing and welding. So this is the learning objectives for this session. Now some of you have some basic idea about welding. Already you might have done some experiments in your mechanical workshop. So simply what you mean by welding? So welding is the process of joining two metal parts and by the application of heat. So we will be melting the base metal, and that is with the help of some heat, and then we will apply pressure in some case, or in some case we will simply put it together. So like that we will be joining two or more metal parts by the application of heat. And in welding the important thing is the fusion or melting of base metal occur and a metallurgical joint is obtained. So the joint is made by the melting of base metal and its solidification on cooling. So that is the important thing in welding. And another advantage of welding is that the joint obtained will have the same property and composition of the metals joined. So if you have obtained a weld joint, its properties like strength, toughness etc. will be more or less same to the base metal, and its composition also will be the same as that of the base metal. So that is the important thing about welding. And welding replaces riveting and bolting in the industry. So before welding, mostly the workpiece were joined together either by bolting or riveting. But when the welding comes and its development, it replaces this metal joining process in the industry. And you already know it is this extensively used in manufacturing industry, construction of ships, tanks, automobiles and maintenance work, even piping industry. So everywhere we are using this welding, whether it is an industry or a small scale industry, a large scale industry. So most of the industry will be using this welding for joining two or more workpiece. Now how will you classify welding? So already you know that the welding is the process of joining the metal piece with the help of heat. So these welding processes are classified according to the source at which the heat is produced. So if you want to produce heat, and that too to melt the metal, you require a large amount of heat. A localized large amount of heat is required with a very high temperature, about 2000 degree or around 3000 degrees Celsius is required. And that source, the sub source will depend the classification of welding. So based on the source of heat production, the welding process can be classified into the following categories. So this is the entire classification of welding. A large number of weldings are there. So first one, gas welding. So what is gas welding? So gas welding, the heat is produced by burning of a fuel gas with the help of air or oxygen. So in gas welding, you must have two cylinders. So one cylinder you will be have oxygen or compressed air, Another cylinder you will have a fuel like acetylene or hydrogen like that. And with the help of a valve you will mix these two gas and the flame is obtained, a torch. A torch or flame is obtained through a nozzle and that will produce the heat required. So that is happening in gas welding. So gas welding we have several classifications. For example, air acetylene welding, where air is used as the combustion agent and the fuel gas is acetylene. This is the most commonly used gas welding. Then we have oxyacetylene welding. We will use oxygen and acetylene. Similarly, oxyhydrogen welding, pressure gas welding. So number of classifications are there for gas welding. So gas welding utilize the burning of a fuel gas with the help of a oxygen or air. So two cylinders will be there. This gas will mix in correct proportions and will be ignited. A flame is obtained through a nozzle. So you can place that flame through that nozzle to produce the heat required for fusion. Then second category we have arc welding. So in the mechanical engineering workshop you might have done this arc welding, and it also have several categories like carbon arc welding, SMAW that is shielded metal arc welding, SAW submerged arc welding, GTAW gas tungsten arc welding. So this is TIG welding. Then metal inert gas welding, MIG welding. A number of categories are there. Electroslag welding, plasma arc welding. So you might have had this TIG welding and MIG welding. GTAW is also known as TIG welding and this is MIG welding. So like that we can classify this arc welding. So we will discuss in detail the principles of arc welding in the upcoming slides. Then what about this resistance welding? What will be the source of energy or source of heat in resistance welding? Yes, we will utilize the resistance of the workpiece. So you know by Joule's law, when a current is passed through a conducting material, heat will be produced according to the equation I square RT, where I is the current and R is the resistance of the material. So that will be utilized in this resistance welding. So we will pass a very high current, low voltage, high ampere current. So with the help of a step down transformer you can produce a low voltage high ampere current, and this workpiece will be tightly held together with the help of a die or something, and we will pass this current through that, apply pressure, and in the joint this heat will be produced by Joule's law and we can join that with the help of that. So and again it is classified only based on the geometry like seam welding, spot welding, projection welding, but flash butt welding, high frequency resistance welding. So many classifications are there. So here we are using the resistance of the workpiece to produce the heat. So a high ampere current is required. That is a condition for this. The current is low, you might not have produced that much heat. Then we have solid state welding. So solid state welding, we will be using a vibration or pressure. Very huge pressure is used to join this workpiece. So like hot pressure welding and ultrasonic welding, we will use vibrations in the range of ultrasonic. Forge welding, roll welding, friction stir welding, a number of classifications there. So in this the workpiece will be mostly in solid state and we have to use a very huge pressure since temperature is not that much high to melt the workpiece, but so you have to apply a large pressure in this category. Then we have another one, that is thermochemical welding. So thermit welding is an example of this. What will be the energy source? So in thermochemical welding, like thermit welding, we will be using a exothermic chemical reaction. So an exothermic chemical reaction is utilized in this. So in thermit welding, for example, if you want to join a gap between two workpieces, what we will do is we will put a crucible and we will feed aluminum powder and iron oxide, and a reaction takes place in between this aluminum and iron oxide, and that is exothermic reaction, and the product will be aluminum oxide and iron. So that is the product of this thermit weldings, and its exothermic reaction, very huge temperature is produced, and that iron will be melt and it will fill this gap between the workpiece. So that is happening in thermit welding, and it is mostly used in welding of railway track lines. So in railway track lines, the power source will not be there. So if you want to weld two railway track lines, a gap crack between two railway track lines, so what will be a possible choice? You cannot use gas welding because you have to take the huge gas cylinders into that area, so it will be a remote area in some case. On arc welding and this resistance welding, all these are not possible because all these are required a power source. In arc welding also you require a power source, resistance welding also we require a power source, and this solid state welding you require huge pressure. So the only possible or the best suited method to weld railway track lines, crack between the railway track line, is thermit welding. So only you have to use some aluminum powder, iron oxide, or then initiate the reaction. You will produce very high temperature and a good weld is obtained. And another example is atomic hydrogen welding for thermochemical welding. And finally, we have this is the most modern type of welding, that is radiant energy welding. So we will be using electromagnetic radiation like laser beam weldings, electron beam welding, etc. So this is only used for some special purpose only. So this is the entire classification of welding. So you don't have to study in detail about this, just to understand the main classification of welding. So this is based on the heat source, and again there are several classifications like this. Now you are in the syllabus, you have to study only the arc welding in detail. So we will go for the detailed discussion on arc welding. So what is arc welding? So what is the principle behind this arc welding? How the heat is generated? How welding takes place? So let's see. So this is a figure of arc welding. So you can see here arc welding requires a source which is known as a welding machine, a power source, an AC or DC. And from this power source you can see two connections are going. So one is going to this electrode holder. This is the one connection. It's known as the electrode cable. So you require a consumable electrode which will be consumed while welding. So this is that electrode, and this is the workpiece placed in a table, and one cable connects to this working cable. So this is a ground or neutral line, and this is the current or voltage line. So this is a typical arc welding diagram. So how this welding, the heat is produced? The heat is produced by an electrical arc and is used for joining the surface. So the electrical arc is produced with the help of this setup. And what is an electrical arc? Electric arc is the discharge of electrons due to the electric breakdown of non-conductive medium like air. So if you ionize air or plasma medium, if you convert air into a plasma medium, you have to have several ions and electrons will be there. And this discharge of electrons to this a medium like air, you will get an electric arc. And the power source required in arc welding is selected according to the material and volume of work. So you can use both AC and DC source, and it's in the range of voltage must be in the range of 20 to 40 volt, and current will be very high current, that is in the range of 150 to 1000 ampere is used. So you require a high volt ampere and low voltage power. Either it will be, can use AC or DC. If it is a DC, you might have use it with the help of a battery. And if it is an AC, you have to use a step down transformer because the supply AC will be, that the supply AC of household applications, etc., will be around 230 volt. So you have to reduce the voltage and increase the current. So you have to use a step down transformer. If it is DC, you might have used a battery. So this is the range of voltage and current used in a arc welding: 20 to 40 volt and 150 to 100,000 ampere. And the DC source is preferred in arc welding because of its safety and arc stability. So what is the advantage of DC source is it will be more stable. The power supply is a constant, so it will be more stable, and safety also. So electrical hazards will be less if you are using a DC power source. But still you can also use AC. And one lead from the power source is connected to the electrode holder, and the other lead, that is a ground lead or neutral lead, is connected to the work table. So this is the power source, and this is the one lead going to the electrode work table, which is a ground. This is the other lead going to the electrode holder. And this is the typical interface of arc welding. You can see this is an electrode wire, consumable electrode, and it is covered with some coating. We will see the function of this coating. And you can see there is a slag is there in one layer which protects the weld metal behind. This is a molten weld metal pool, and this is the base metal. So in the arc welding, first, what is the procedure for arc welding? The first electrode is brought in contact to the workpiece to close the electrical circuit. So you might have done this before starting this welding. You have to touch the electrode just to the workpiece table or the workpiece so that it completes the electrical circuit. Then after that, the electrode is moved backward immediately. So you have to provide a gap between the electrode and workpiece, and this will make an electrical discharge. So the electrical electrons, the flow of electrons through that gap will produce an electrical discharge or arc between this workpiece and electrode. And the important thing, the electrode in arc welding is get consumed. So it is used while welding, and it acts as a filler material. Why it is consumed? Because it also acts as a filler material. So in order to, we have to provide a constant gap of 2 to 4 millimeter between the electrode and workpiece. And how you are keeping this constant gap? Because the electrode will be continuously consumed, so the gap will increase. So you have to put forward uniformly. You have to move the electrode towards the workpiece. So that is another step. The electrode get consumed. So to keep the constant gap between the electrode and workpiece, you have to move the electrode towards the workpiece. And at the same time, the electrode will be moved along the desired line of welding. So we want to weld that throughout a particular length. You have to move in that direction also. So this is a procedure for arc welding. So first you have to make a contact between electrode and workpiece, complete the circuit. Then you have to provide a gap between that. Electrical discharge take place. The arc is produced, and the electrode is consumed. So the gap will increase. So you have to move forward this electrode, and finally you have to move it through the desired line of welding. So this is the procedure for arc welding. So some of you have done it in this mechanical engineering workshop. Just recollect that. And the electrodes are coated with a flux material which vaporizes during welding and shield the weld region. So the oxidation of molten metal will be a problem in welding. So when in the molten stage, this metal may act with the oxygen in the air surrounding, and it will form an oxide layer which reduce the strength and other properties of the weld joint. So to avoid that, either you can provide an inert gas around this weld region, and also you are coating this electrode with a flux material so that it will also vaporize and it will shield the weld region, and it covers the weld metal with a protective slag which prevents the oxidation during cooling. So you can see here a slag is there in the upper layer. This is a slag. So this slag is formed by the action of this fluxing material covered in the electrode, which vaporize and which will form a covering layer in this molten metal area, so that the oxidation of this weld metal, the region below, just below that, is prevented. And this slag we can finally brush it off after cooling. So once it is cooled and solidified completely, we can easily remove with the help of a metal wire brush. We can remove this or we can chip it off. And sometimes we can also use an inert gas to prevent oxidation. So you can provide an inert gas in this region like argon, helium, etc. so that this oxidation can be prevented. So this is the working of arc welding. Now what are the advantages and disadvantages? What will be the advantage of arc welding compared to other welding? First one is this very simple process compared to other type of welding. And welding equipment is portable, so you can take the welding device, that is a power source with the electrode. You can take it and you can weld wherever you want. And most of the metal can be welded because we can use a wide variety of electrodes. So if the metal change, you can have to change the electrode, but you can weld most of the metal using arc welding. So these are the advantages. And cost is fairly low. That is the main advantage why we are using arc welding. For example, if you have some grill work in your home or some truss work, etc., they will be also using this arc welding because of this. First and the last reason, it is very simple process, and its cost is fairly low. So that you can accommodate it with a lower expense. But the disadvantage is the automation may not be possible. So if you want to completely automate the welding, it is very difficult because the length of electrode is limited. So it is get consumed, the electrode get consumed in this welding. So the complete automation is not that much practical. And the number of electrodes may required to weld a joint. So if the weld joint is very lengthy, so if you want to join a very lengthy workpiece, you have to continuously use the number of electrodes. So that is an important disadvantage of arc welding. So this is a comparison of arc welding, advantages and disadvantages. Now we are going to discuss about soldering. So you might have done this practically, soldering for joining the resistors, capacitors, etc. in an electron board. So what is the difference between this and welding? Any difference is there? Yes, soldering is the process of joining two or more metal parts under heat using a molten filler metal called solder. So in soldering, the main difference between soldering and welding is the base metal or the metal which is to be joined is not melted or fused, but instead we will be using another another material called the filler metal. So this is a filler metal and it's known as a solder, and we will be melting that solder only for joining the different parts. And what is a solder? Solder is an alloy of tin and lead which will melt at very low temperature than the base metal to be joined. So if the base metal melting point will be very high, above 1000 degree, depend on the metals. But this alloy of tin and lead, it will be easily melted under low temperature. And we are mostly used the 60% tin and 37% lead alloy as a solder, which melts at 183 degree for electrical application. So for electrical application, you have to use an alloy of 63% tin and 37% lead as a solder. And in general purpose, we will be using a 50% tin and 50% lead. So its melting point is slightly high, around 215 degree, between this 183 and 250 degree. And here also we have to provide a flux to prevent the oxidation of base metal, and also to enable this molten solder to flow spontaneously and unite more firmly. So you have to apply a flux material before to more speed up this process and to more ease the flows around the joint, and also to prevent the oxidation. So the flux material mostly used are zinc chloride, borax, turpentine oil, etc. So these are some of the commonly used flux material in soldering. And you know that for soldering you require a heat source, even though it is 183 degree or 200 degree, you require a heat source, and mostly we'll be using a soldering iron. So the tip of this solder, with the help of electrical input, the tip of the soldering iron is used to produce the required heat. So that is about soldering. Now what is brazing? So most this soldering and brazing is almost similar. The difference is only this temperature and the strength of the joint. So this is a figure of brazing. So here also you are using a third material, and the melting of that material will join the workpiece. So brazing is a process of joining similar or dissimilar metals, and it is the help of a filler material or alloy known as pelter. So in soldering it is known as solder, but in brazing it is known as a spelter. And here also the flux material is used to prevent oxidation. So just like borax, ash. So these are some of the flux materials used. And in how the heat is produced here. So here we can use a number of sources, just like torch brazing. So this is a torch brazing. You are using a flame igniter. With the help of this, we are producing heat. You can also use electrical brazing, immersion brazing. So these are some classification based on the source of heat in brazing. So in soldering, we have only mostly used soldering iron only for producing heat. But in brazing, we have these three type categories according to the heat source. And the important thing is brazing can be used to join dissimilar metals. Even like you have to join a stainless steel and cast iron, you can use brazing. So you cannot use soldering or welding for joining a stainless steel and cast iron, because it is a two different material. But in brazing, you can join these two metals. And the main application of brazing includes the carbide tip of tool holder, and radiators, tank, etc. So what is finally we are going to the comparison between these three. So how will you compare? This is a mostly asked question in university exam. How will you compare welding, soldering, and brazing? So we have several aspects of comparison. So let's see. First one is based on the strength of the joint. So which one will have more strength? So already you know that soldering is produced the weakest joint out of three, and it cannot bear the load. So its strength is very weak. So for example, soldering example is you are soldering resistors, capacitors, etc. in the electrical motherboard or electrical board. So you can easily dismantle it. So we cannot bear any of the load. But brazing, it is stronger than soldering, but weaker than welding. And it can bear some load, so very limited load it can bear. But welding, you know that it produces the strongest joint among these three, and it can bear load. So if your two parts are joined with the help of welding, it can bear a huge amount of load. Then second difference is the temperature required. Soldering is carried out in very low temperature, maximum up to 450 degree. So normally we will require only 180 to 200 around in that region, and maximum it is only to 450 degree. But bracing, you require 600 degrees to melt that smelter. You require a temperature of 600 degrees. But what about welding? Welding, we require a very high temperature, around 3800 degrees Celsius is created in the welding zone. So in the welding zone, the temperature will be a huge. So that is around 3800 degree. Then another is the mode of joining. So in this soldering, the workpiece is not heated. But in bracing, the workpiece is heated, but it is just below the melting point only. But in welding, you know that the workpiece to be joined are need to be heated till their melting point. So this is the why that is why the temperature range also different. So in soldering, we are not heating the workpiece, but we are simply melting the solder. It is a tin lead alloy which easily melts around low temperature. In bracing, you will be slightly heating the workpiece also, but below the melting point. But welding, you will be melting the workpiece, so you require a very high temperature. Then another difference is the mechanical properties. So the mechanical properties will not change in soldering, and in bracing, it negligible change take place. But in welding, the mechanical property may change at the joint. And the cost and skill required. So this you can easily predict. Soldering irons, you can solder without any pre-knowledge or skill, and its cost is also very less. Bracing requires a medium amount of knowledge and cost, but welding it requires a highly skilled laborers, and also the cost is also very high comparing to these two. And the soldering joint obtained does not require a heat treatment because there is no change in mechanical properties because we are not melting any of the workpiece. No heat treatment is required. Here also bracing also we don't have require any heat treatment. But in welding, to eliminate the undesirable effects of welding, you require heat treatment. So after welding, you might have gone for some heat treatment method to eliminate the undesirable effect of welding. So this is a overall difference or comparison between soldering, bracing, and welding. So for more understanding, you can watch a number of animation videos are available about arc welding, soldering, and bracing. This is also given in the description box, so you can watch it and study more further. So with this, we are closing this today's session. Thank you.